Hey, what's up guys and welcome back to Anime King 2, and today I'm going to be giving you part 4 of What If Naruto was taken to Orochimaru by Sasuke. Remember to get this one to 100 likes as usual, share this to all of your friends on your social media platform, and go ahead and check out Anime King. I'm trying something new, so go ahead and tell me what you think on the latest video over there guys. And also don't forget to go ahead and check out the other channels. I indeed have 4 of them which I post what you fun every single day for guys to enjoy. Links will be down in the description, so go ahead check them out and yeah, enjoy. And turn on the bell notification so you can see exactly when I post, because as you can see, I do post a hell of a lot. So without further ado or wasting more time, what do you say we jump right into this brand new episode? Begin now guys. So the last spot we left off, Tenten arrived as she threw a kunai, thinking that Naruto was one of the enemies. Well, in a case he was, but not their direct enemy. However, things were not as calm as it seemed. When she saw who it was, she was flabbergasted. She couldn't believe it. Of all the people to run into, she wasn't expecting this. However, Kiba quickly made her know that Naruto did not plan on returning back with them. He now had a deep-seated hatred for Konoha, and they must do something about that. The remaining members arrive on the scene. Kakashi was helped over by Guy because he was physically and mentally exhausted from his battle, and there wasn't much that he could do. It was a shocking reveal as they saw Naruto. Hinata couldn't believe it as she was frozen. The others quickly attack, trying to bring Naruto back to the village because he would not listen. However, to their absolute shock, Naruto was able to take on all 4 of them like it was nothing. None of them stood a chance against him, and he was actively trying not to hurt them too badly. Even Tenten believing that she could bring him down, she was sadly mistaken as Naruto used her like she was some sort of toy and tossed her to the side. None of them stood any chance. Lee, Kiba, Neji, Tenten. They could not take him on even though it was a 4 of them all together. He was bodying every single one of them. That is when Hinata decided to make her move. For a split second, Naruto let his guard down as she proceeded to hug him. She begged him not to fight. She didn't want to see any of them get hurt. Neji then proceeded to use the opportunity to knock Naruto unconscious. As they all looked at each other, the Jonins couldn't believe it. To think that he has grown so much stronger in the past 3 years, it was incredible. So with that, Chiyo did her business. In the end, she sacrificed her life, bringing Gaara back to reality. Gaara was rather surprised to see Naruto here, as Naruto was the one that saved him from the darkness that was festering inside of him. However, he's been missing for some time now. They brought him back toward the sand, as they kept on rendering him unconscious every time he was waking up. Surely that was not good for his mental health. Upon going back there, they allowed him to stay awake, as Naruto made his feelings clear about what he think of the village, and what he think of all of them as well for trying to bring him back. It was pure silence. When they finally got back to said village, Tsunade was speechless. She could not believe what she heard, as she sat in her office, waiting for the team to come towards them. She called the rest of the rookies. She wanted all of them to be here. If they were going to convince him, they had to be here as a united front. Meanwhile that was going on, Lashio's Naruto Dragon was following behind them discreetly, slowly proceeded and making its way. As they got back to the village finally, once they were there, Naruto was placed in the office. Sakura was shocked, more so when he started to talk, like he was not the same Naruto at all. Tsunade and the others tried to plead with him, trying to make him understand. However, he said that he would not be staying here. They got to see him and fine, but he had no business staying here. He moved on. He had another life. And when he told Tsunade that they can't hold him, she was surprised. He might have gotten strong, but there was no possible way. Boom! An explosion had followed his statement. As everyone was on the ground, Tsunade shouted for the Anvus to hunt him down immediately and find him, as Naruto was long gone on the back of Latios. Some time later, Sasuke was currently by himself. Sasuke had matured and grown over the years, and he also saw Naruto as someone that he heavily respected. And there was also someone else here that, well, for now though he was waiting for the blonde to return. He heard about what happened from Orochimaru's spy. However, he was confident enough that Naruto could get out of that situation. And he was right as Naruto arrived. Once he did though, someone crashed into him. It was a young girl. Her name was Suki, as Orochimaru had found her not so long ago. She was special and she had a win affinity just like Naruto as well. And she started to call him her big brother. At first, he wasn't agreeing with that, but as time passed on, she warmed up to him rather well. And now he saw her as a little sister. So yeah guys, basically as we left off, you guys can switch across the playlist of yourself, and don't forget to go ahead and check out the other what ifs of the other channels. Yes, I indeed have 4 of them which I post what if on every single day for you guys to enjoy. All the links will be down in the description, so go ahead, check them out, and yeah, enjoy. So without further ado, what do you say we jump right into this brand new episode? Begin now guys. Where were you, big brother? You were gone for a really long time, Suki said, as she glanced up towards Naruto. Oh well, I was off on a mission saving a friend, and I got held up, he said to her. Not what I heard, Sasuke said under his breath, causing Naruto to jab him in the side. Sasuke turned towards the small child. Go be annoying somewhere else, brat. As you can see, him and I were talking. Shut up, you duck butt. I can speak to big brother anytime I want, Suki yelled back at Sasuke. His eyes started to twitch. Little brat. Big dummy. Demon spawn. Stupid face. Guys, said Naruto, trying to calm them down. You two be nice to each other now, he said. Suki huffed as she stuck her tongue out towards Uchiha. Sasuke huffed as he looked away. It was always like this between them, and Sasuke would never take the high road and be the bigger person and walk away. He always kept up with her shenanigans. He's still a big goofy duck butt, she said, as she crossed her arms over her chest, causing Naruto to snicker at her comment, causing Sasuke to send him a glare. Anyway, Sasuke said, you were telling what happened. Naruto proceeded to sit down. Okay, so it all started when, as he began to explain the longest past 2 weeks of his life, he made sure to leave out how exactly he got captured, with Hinata hugging him. Sasuke would never let him live that down, so he kept it out of things. Suki was getting rather annoyed, as no one was paying attention to her. She was about to say something until she saw Naruto's waist pouch, as a grin came on her face. One thing about her invisibility that made it extra unique, it did not only hide her, it masked her chakra signature. She became practically undetectable. However, she could still be found by scent. And also, it only lasts for 10 minutes. If she tried to force it past that, it would cause damage to her chakra coils. And that made her even more devious when it came to pranks. She snuck around Naruto's backside as she reached for the opening of his pouch. Just as she was reaching in, she was lifted off the ground by the back of her shirt as she yeeped in surprise. That is when Naruto turned to see Latios holding Suki up. Unfortunately for her, Latios could somehow see through her invisibility, so he intervened before she could do anything. No fear, she said, swinging her legs. I was so close. as Lashios held her up. "And what, pray tell, were you doing? Trying to go through my things," Naruto asked. She started to poke her two fingers together. "I just wanted to see if you brought me back anything," she said. As Naruto sighed, she could be so impatient at times. "Patience is a virtue. You know that, Suki-chan," he said. Now, I have not forgotten. Close your eyes, and don't open them until I tell you, okay?" She grinned brightly as she proceeded to close her eyes, as Lashios placed her back down on the ground. As she felt Naruto step towards her, she could feel him getting close, and something was placed around her neck. "Alright, you can open your eyes now." A gasp escaped her once she saw it. It was a beautiful, silver, moon-shaped necklace. There was a beautiful jewel in the center of the moon crescent. The only jewelry that she owned was the moon-shaped earrings that Naruto had gotten her a year before, and now she had a perfect necklace to match. Her green eyes sparkled as Naruto smiled down towards her. "Happy birthday, Suki-chan," he said. Less than a fraction of a second later, she crashed right into him. As she kept on yelling thank you, she was now 8 years old. As Naruto returned her embrace, a smile on his face. She was another good thing about his life that he got from leaving Konoha. A short moment later, she broke the embrace. As she stepped back, she wanted to show him something. "Look, big brother," she said. "I've been practicing." She drew her blade out of the sheath. She started to focus as she started to call upon her chakra. Slowly and steadily, a faint shroud of blue chakra started to surround the blade. It was about 16 inches. However, the chakra only made it halfway up before it started to dissipate as she lost focus. Her arms fell to her side as she was taking a breath. She didn't do it as perfectly as she thought she would be able to pull it off in front of him. However, she's come a long way since she started. "See? I'll get it in no time. That's a promise," she said. As Naruto ruffled her hair, despite her not liking that, he smiled down towards her. Indeed, she would get it in no time. Before he went to try and rescue Gaara, he showed it to her. And she already reached halfway. Yes, she will get it in no time. There was no doubt about that. Of course, practice was still essential. And when she was old and responsible enough, he would teach her how to throw wing blades from her blade. Sasuke just had to go and spoil it though. "A technique like that is too much for a little runt like you," he said. She spun around and she kicked him right in the shin. "Shut up, duck butt," she said. "No one was talking to you." Sasuke bounced on his left leg. "Alright, brat. That does it," he said. Sasuke created a Shidori as he ran after her. She screamed as she proceeded to run away. She ran in a crazy pattern. He was about to catch her until she vanished. Sasuke stopped as he screamed to the heavens, "You're not getting away this time!" Naruto stood there as he watched. This was not a first. His best friend resorting to use an A-rank jutsu on a little girl, and the fact that she was able to push him so far. Sasuke really did not know how to let things go. That is when Naruto felt two pair of arms held on to him as Sasuke was on his back. As he decided to calm the Uchiha down before he poked someone's eye out with that thing. Time skip. The news was buzzing around the hidden leaf that Naruto was found, and he was able to escape the village within the span of an hour. Some of them claimed that he single-handedly defeated the Hokage and the famous Konoha 10. Some claim that he took on armies of Anvus and defeated them all. Of course, those were just rumors, but there was one thing that was certain. Naruto was the new big talk of the town. Everyone was talking about what happened. They just could not get it off their minds. Not in the slightest. Some say that he was a menace for coming back to the village and hurting the Hokage, and that he need to be dealt with. But most spoke about how strong he might have been to pull off a feat like that, and he must be the son of the fourth Hokage. If the looks did not seal the deal, then this definitely did for most. Amongst that, the Anvus had been scouring the place for him. Guard patrol had been increased, and Tsunade herself Well, she was a mess. Tsunade was exhausted. First, she finally see the boy that she has been worrying sick over for the last 3 years. Then there was a daily onslaught of paperwork, and to make matters even worse, her office exploded. She was grateful that they had an envoy on hand that was skilled with her late grandfather wood style. It was currently late in the evening. The only thing that she wanted to do right now was flop down in her bed and just wake up from this terrible nightmare. She certainly did not want the council to yap away in her ear, much like they were right now. Tsunade-sama, we must find and retrieve that boy, Homura said. Yes, he must be returned to the village immediately, Koharu chimed in. Tsunade had been trying her best to ignore them and make it seem like she was listening, but something was wrong. First, they wanted him to be removed from Konoha by all means necessary, and now it was their top priority to get him back as soon as possible. As she focused her gaze on the both of them. Why, she said, trying her best not to scowl at them. Why? I'll tell you why. He carried the blood of one of our greatest heroes, and it would be best to limit that bloodline to Konoha only, Homura said, like it was the most obvious thing in the entire world. So what exactly are you trying to say, Tsunade asked. Simple. We influence him and have him build a clan here within Konoha. There are plenty of young women out there that would be willing to carry the next heir of the legacy of the fourth Hokage. After his clan prosper up with children, we have him track down Sasuke to do the same. The Sharingan does belong to Konoha after all. In a couple of years, if they decided to still be against the village, there will no longer be any need for them because we will have what we wanted. Tsunade took in a deep breath. So basically, what you're saying is, you want us to brainwash him, force him into a breeding program, and use him to find Sasuke and repeat the process to breed an army of superhuman soldiers, or something like that. Brainwash is not the right word that I would use. Think of it more as an extensive persuasion to our favor, Homura said. Tsunade was repulsed by their words. She expected this from Danzo, not from them. Tsunade wanted to punch the both of them towards the Hokage monument. However, she was so exhausted, not just physically but mentally from the day. And to follow a wise statement once said, it was too troublesome right now to do anything. She looked up with half-lidded eyes. No, she said. I beg your pardon? Homura said confused. I said no. We're not creating any kind of breeding programs, just for the sake of bettering our village. And I'm not sending out a team just to look for him. But Tsunade, you must... I said no, she yelled. What you're asking is nothing but unethical, she said, calming herself. Tsunade, you must not let your personal feelings for the boy cloud your judgment on this matter. He must be brought home, Homura said. The both of them were confused as she started to chuckle. As she finally spoke, my history with him has nothing to do with my judgment. If he is found and captured and brought back to Konoha, then we will deal with him. We're going to treat him like any other missing nin. Because if I do recall correctly, it was the both of you that said that we can't waste village resources 3 years ago on one missing nin when I tried to get him back. And besides, after speaking with him today, I learned that he was not missing by choice. He was captured by Orochimaru, but he's knowingly siding with the traitor then. If that wasn't true, why wouldn't he stay here when he got the chance to escape from the clutches of Orochimaru? Koharu said, because he doesn't want to be here. Believe it or not, he was a gift that we were given. A gift that we tarnish to never return to back what it once was. Beneath all of that loud, annoying, hyperactive blonde was a soul that was searching for some sort of guidance, for someone to help him through. Though I do not agree with his choice of company, he has found someone that can provide him with that. kind of guidance. And I'm thankful, she said. And I can't really blame him for trying to get out of here as quickly as possible once he was brought back. Would you want to go back to a place that has been nothing but hell for you for the past 13 years of your life? Most times one must play the cards that they're dealt, Homura said. Yes, it was his actions that led up to this predicament, Homura said. Tsunade reached up as she pinched her nose and released a heavy breath. They were really testing her patience today. Maybe they would be satisfied if she just backhanded the both of them right through a wall. Honestly, they think that being in Naruto's shoes was easy. She would like to see them... Wait. 1 second, she thought to herself. A smile came on her face. You're absolutely right. You gotta play the cards that you're dealt. Which is exactly why I'm going to deal you some new cards, she said in a suspicious manner. What are you talking about, Tsunade? Koharu said confusedly. You write his life off like it was no big deal. So I'm going to put the both of you in his shoes. You know, deal you his cards. The both of them started to panic. It was no secret how terrible his life was. You don't have the authority to do something like that. Well, actually, as Hokage, I have supreme authority over my subordinates, which includes the both of you. Now I believe that we're done here, so you're dismissed. But you can't, I said dismiss. She cut them off, making her tone stern. The both of them were forced to get up and leave the office. Once they were gone, she leaned back in her chair. Perfect time for some sake, as she opened her secret stash compartment. Surprisingly though, there was an envelope inside. She opened it, wondering where this came from. Tsunade, it read. I wrote this in the event of my capture, or if I ever return to the Leaf. I want to tell you that I'm sorry, and that I won't ever be coming back to Konoha. As you probably know by now, for the last few years I've been training under Orochimaru. He promised to grant me the power to protect myself. And before you grow disappointed in me, I want to say that is the only reason. To protect myself. It was the only opportunity I had. After all, if I did not go his path, I would be left to wander the world, homeless, at 13 years old to fend for myself. So I chose the path that would make me stronger. I should make it clear. By no means do I like the Sannin R. Do I agree with any of his ideals? But I do respect him. He is still a crazy, egotistical bastard who's still hell-bent on reaching something that is beyond his reach. But he taught me many valuable things. The only reason I stay is... it's because I'm not sure exactly what to do with my life right now. I have recently obtained a greater responsibility. I have someone to look after now. I guess there is nothing else to say. Just please don't come after me. I'm really sorry that it had to end like this. I still have the necklace that you gave me. I hope, someday under different circumstances, that we can meet again. There is someone that I want you to meet anyway, and I think you're gonna really like her. Goodbye sound too final, and this is not the end. So, see you later, Bachan. Emotions swell. As Tsunade finished reading the letter, she was disappointed that he went to Orochimaru, but she understood his situation at the time. Sad that he would not be returning back to the village. He could never be happy here. But she understood. And now, she was happy that he wanted to meet once again in the future, to show that he is not completely abandoned everyone. Lastly, motherly instinct. If he knew what was best for him, he better not be fooling around with some hussy. Otherwise, in her mind, a chibi Tsunade was beating down a chibi Naruto, with also a poor defenseless girl nearby. It made her chuckle. As she leaned back, but she was still happy. He still saw her as one of his precious people, which meant a lot since he has so few. And not to mention he never go back on his promises. So she did not doubt that she will see him in the future. As Tsunade decided to retire for the night. Time skip. Rasengan. Suki was leaning up against Latios as she was holding her brother's sword, as she watched as he practiced his father's jutsu. She had begged him to teach her for a whole week, but he said no. She didn't have the required amount of chakra yet, and not to mention, she needed to be more responsible and mature. The nerve of him saying that. Of course she was responsible, and her birthday passed not too long ago, so she was mature by now. However, it doesn't work like that. So she just sat there brooding to herself. By the time that he was going to teach it to her, he would already finish his new win version or whatever. That means she was going to be behind, and she did not like that. Suki was now bored. Naruto was not going to train her until he was finished with his own training, and that was going to take too long. She thought about just bugging him, but he said for her not to, and not to mention he said that it was too dangerous, and he would not teach her if she did. She turned as she saw the Uchiha working on his lightning fist thing. A big smile came on her face as she became invisible. Chidori, Sasuke said, as the lightning started to cackle around his arm. He started to focus some more, and focus some more, until it started to thin out like a blade. He made it smaller until it was the size of a kunai. That is when wind struck his hand. The technique destabilized. Sasuke raised the eyebrow at that. There was no way a normal wind could break his jutsu like that. That is when he felt that strange twitch in his stomach once again. His Suki senses were tingling. Sasuke looked around as he tried to find the demonic child, but the only thing he saw was the sleeping Latios and Naruto, who was trying to perfect his technique. However, he did not doubt that she was here. She was here somewhere. Meanwhile, Naruto paused as he tried to catch his breath. After so much constant use, ever since he returned over a month ago now, he's been trying to merge his wind nature with the Rasengan. In the past, Jiraiya had said it was one of the most difficult things. Even his own father never managed to achieve it. But he was making progress. He now had a new Rasengan variant, with his wind chakra combined in it. Some of it, to be exact. It's more stronger, far stronger than a normal one, and the effects were far more destructive. Visibly, it took on a whitish tint, and it had 4 blades protruding out of it. Suki had said that it looked like a chubby shuriken. However, he could not throw it. Wait, what if he could? If he was able to extend the blades a bit more, it would be perfect for throwing. Yes, it would. It was all because of what Suki had said about it looking like a shuriken. Speaking of her, where exactly was she, Naruto thought. That is when he heard Sasuke as he turned to see him, swinging the sheath of his blade around, like he was trying to hit something out of the sky. So Sasuke, is this a new variant of your sword style that you're developing? Naruto ducked at Sasuke's swing, the sheath towards his head. Shut up. I know that she's around here somewhere. As Sasuke kept on looking around, Sasuke then smirked. He's been working on something to catch that little bastard. And this was going to work perfectly. And besides, it was not too harmful. As he held his hand up, before slamming it down, Chidori Nagashi, he said, as Naruto was forced to jump up in the air, thinking that the Uchiha was aiming towards him. Around 20 feet away from them, the lightning started to swirl around a spot. The next moment, Suki reappeared, as her hair was all frazzled. Sasuke had a bright smile on his face. Suki rushed towards Naruto. Naruto, Naruto, she said. Duck but zap me. She whined. He glanced towards her. Maybe you should stop messing with people all the time, he said, knowing that this was just an act of hers. As her face returned back to normal. It's not fun. It really hurt, she said, crossing her arms as she sent Sasuke a glare, as she proceeded to fix her hair. Tuh, that would teach you. You damn little Sasuke-kun, Naruto-kun. Both of them turned as they saw Kabuto walking out towards them. Oh, Suki-chan, I did not know that you were here as well. I can kill 2 birds with 1 stone, Kabuto said. Naruto-kun, Sasuke-kun, Orochimaru-sama want to see the both of you in his quarters for a mission. Suki-chan, You are to come with me to meet Karen for your espionage training. What? But Big Brother hasn't trained me yet, and he promised. And he doesn't go back on his promises, she complained. She really did not want to be around that girl right now. It was always Sasuke on this, Sasuke on that. She had no idea what that redhead saw in the duck butt anyway. He's not even cool, her big brother. He's so much more awesome than everyone. Sorry, Suki, said Naruto as he pat her on the head. Next time for sure, okay? Yeah, maybe next time, Chibi. Sasuke said, passing her. Don't call me that duck butt, she said, as she frowned to herself. As Kabuto turned towards her, shall we get going? She shrugged as she walked off, folding her arms. Moments later, they knocked. They heard him say come in as they stepped inside. Orochimaru was in a bad condition. His body even looked more paler than ever before. He looked weak, terribly so, as he was lying on a bed. There was also some tubes running towards his arms. The both of them stood there. Hello, boys. Orochimaru coughed in his hand. I have a mission for you. I need you. He started to cough some more. It was a lot. He reached over as he took a pallet before he proceeded to take a drink of the water nearby. The medicine was only temporary, but he can say what he wanted to say. As I was saying, I have another mission for you. I want you boys to go and retrieve a scroll for me. It's in a temple near the border of fire and rain. It's important that you bring it back without fail, because I need it for my research. Time is of the essence here. There is a scroll with a map inside with more details inside the drawer, he said, as Naruto walked over and pulled it out. With that, they simply nodded. They start to leave until, one more thing. There has been sightings of the Akatsuki moving within the land of rain and fire. So be careful, he said to them. And if you have the chance, don't hesitate to eliminate them. As both boys left, Orochimaru knew that his body was rejecting him even more, and it was almost time for him to finally get what he wanted. Soon, he chuckled to himself. Your body will be mine, Sasuke-kun, he said. Time skip. Both boys were making their way down the road, as it was close towards the border, near the fire and rain. As Naruto had left Lashio's back home, he could not support the both of their weights, and there wasn't a bird in Sasuke Hawk summon that he mysteriously got and refused to tell Naruto where he got it from. None of the birds in there could keep up with Lashio, so they decided to walk. A perfect chance to get in some training. There was something that Naruto was working on. It turns out that he had another chakra nature. Strangely, it was lightning, but it wasn't your ordinary lightning. It was gold in color. Unfortunately for him though, he could not pull it out like Sasuke used his naturally. It was random for him. So Sasuke opted to teach him how to control it, and the only way he knew to do that was to teach Naruto the Chidori. After all, that is the way that he began. As compensation and thanks, Naruto decided to teach him the Rasengan. It was the only fair thing that he saw, if he was teaching him his signature jutsu. The idea was for them to learn at the same pace, and give each other pointers. However, the idea was already crumbling. It was not yet fully mastered, but Sasuke could already form the Rasengan. He recently just got the shape manipulation down, the final form, which was step 3. Even though he could form it, it wasn't as effective though, and as strong as Naruto's, but it could still be horrible for someone. Not to mention the amount of chakra that he used to create in one. It felt like the old days when he was first learning the Chidori. Naruto on the other hand was really struggling. The Chidori was elemental chakra purely. So yeah, he had little to no control over that. The most he could do was call forth a few sparks to his hand. Just enough to annoy someone, but it was not lethal in the slightest. Something was wrong though as he noticed it while he was training. His lightning chakra seemed resistant, yet natural at the same time. Like part of him was trying to reach out towards it while the other part was trying to reject it. He only recently got a hand of it though, so maybe it had not fully awakened yet. Whatever the problem was, he was truly displeased. It will take him years just to get it down, and another lifetime to learn the Chidori. But being the stubborn individual that he was, he would not give up. As he was going down the road, practicing what Sasuke was showing him, golden sparks started to fly across his hand. He was getting better. He was actually forming some stream, instead of just normal sparks. That is when he heard the surge of chakra from his right. Turning his gaze, he saw Sasuke with another Rasengan. As he lost concentration. I think I'm starting to get the hang of this, Sasuke said, with a smirk on his face. Slowly but surely he was using less and less chakra while he was forming said technique. It still took him a minute to form and stabilize it though, but that can be easily fixed over time. As Naruto shot him a glare, he just had to upstage him once again, Before the electricity could completely go away, Naruto placed his hand on Sasuke's shoulder, causing the Uchiha to jump in shock as the technique dissipated. "What the hell?" he said. "Oh, sorry about that. Too much static on my hands. You know how that works," said Naruto, with a smirk on his face. "Or perhaps you're just mad because you can't use mine but I can use yours," Sasuke said with a smirk. He found it typical of Naruto to get jealous of him. He's been like that since they were Genins. Like I care about some stupid lightning jutsu. I've seen stronger bug zappers, Naruto said. "Shut up," said Sasuke. "You weren't saying that when I offered to teach you." "Whatever. I still got my Rasengan. Fit me way better. And it's stronger and more powerful than your Chidori by miles. Like hell it is. The Chidori wiped the floor with your technique a few years ago, and it has only gotten stronger. You cheated. Plus, I was smaller back then," said Naruto. "You're just saying that because you lost." "Excuses upon excuses," Sasuke said. "Well, that's my story," said Naruto, "and I'm sticking to it. And besides, I'm the stronger one now, so nothing's gonna change that." "That's about true as Sakura being in love with you," Sasuke said, knocking Naruto down a few pegs. "That's it," said Naruto. "Let's settle this once and for all, for me to show you that I'm the better." First one to the temple win. Sasuke smirked. He really decided to test him in race. His speed was far greater than the blonde's. That was his biggest mistake. Naruto reached as he pulled out a coin. The moment it touched ground, he said as he flicked it in the sky. Both boy eyes narrowed towards the coin as he watched it. It seemed to slow down as it came, flipping and flipping and flipping and flipping until... boom! The both of them burst off at blinding speed, leaving a dust trail in their wake as the trees were snapped back. Time skip. Within the barbecue restaurant of the Hidden Leaf, the members of Konoha 10, a young group of elite ninjas that show great promise. Over a month ago, the failed retrieval of Naruto went off. Well, they did get him back, but he ended up escaping anyways. "So about Naruto, you guys. What should we do?" Ino said. "What can we do? He said so himself that he doesn't want to be found, and that he's not returning back to Konoha. This whole thing is just too troublesome if you ask me," Shikamaru said as he leaned back, his hands behind his head. "I say when we do find him, we hog-tied him. We drag him back here, by his ankles, and take back my sword," that sexist jerk Tenten said. She was still pissed off at him calling her plain Jane and demeaning her skills as a kunoichi. "But Tenten, I do believe that sword is Naruto-kun's," Lee said, correcting her. "Well, he broke my favorite weapon and by default, he owes me one," she said. Tenten was pissed off that he went missing while the commotion happened within the office. He must have swiped it. "Shut up, Tenten. You're just mad because Naruto was flirting with you and looking out for your well-being, and you got all wild up," Kiba said, as he was munching on some barbecue. He was tired of her complaining. She seriously needed to let it go. Her face became as red as a tomato, as she could not find the words to respond to him. "We have to save him, you guys. Sasuke as well. Orochimaru must have done something to him. That is not the Naruto that we used to know and remember." Sakura was still in denial about his behavior. She refused to believe that was real him. Sakura, it is rather clear by his action that he's doing this of his own free will, and so is Sasuke. There is no hope for them now, Neji said, in a plain tone. No, that's not true, she said. She refused that reality. They just gotta come back. They gotta. Do they, Sakura? Do they really? Neji asks. Sasuke craved power, and he no longer has anything to tie him down in Konoha. He abandoned Konoha, his teams, his friends, everything. He has no reason to come back. And as for Naruto, we all know why he stays away. The mood grew darker as everyone's face fell. The place became rather silent at his proclamation. It was obvious that Naruto had hatred towards the village for what they did to him, and who could blame him? Would you return to a place like that treat you in such a manner? Shikamaru said, his voice just above a whisper. He never stood a chance in Konoha. No parents, no family, and barely any acknowledgement whatsoever. Even after he saved the village 3 times, they refused to acknowledge him. Choji said, looking toward his plate. 3 times? Kiba said, confused. Yes, first. Holding the Kyuubi for all these years. And yet people still see him as a monster despite he was the only thing holding back the monster. Second, he was the one that defeated Gaara in the Chunin exams. In the wake of the destruction when Shikaku was released, he stopped it, even after Sasuke failed. And thirdly, he went and he brought the new Hokage back to restore order and balance within the village. So yes, 3 times. As all of them looked down, thinking about everything so far. He was a truly one-of-a-kind person, Choji said. He always did what was right, even if you did not ask him to do that. Yeah, he might have been loud, annoying, hyperactive, brash, idiotic, Ino, Choji said to her. But he was still a good friend, Ino finished. Not to mention he was crazy strong, Kiba said. More like crazy stupid. He dove headfirst into danger without planning or any safety precautions. However, he was definitely determined, Tenten said. He was also nice and caring. Hinata spoke up. You know, he was a lot of things, but I never thought that he would grow from a dork into a complete hottie, Ino said. They all snapped their gaze towards her like she grew a second head or something. What? He actually looked really cute now that he got some height, and he's wearing something different from that orange, strange jumpsuit that he used to wear. Not to mention his chisel, cheekbones, and the way his hair hang down in front of his face. He looked rather mysterious and dangerous. And did you guys see his muscles? Ino! Sakura yelled at her to stop. As Sakura knew that it was true, but she saw Naruto as the same person that she knew all these years. She just could not see him in the way that Ino was describing him, even though she knew the changes was there. Look, Sakura, it's not like it's my fault that he turned out that way, and I happen to like it. Blame it on hormones, Ino said. You might not be willing to give him a chance, but I sure will. Wait, Ino, everyone know that Hinata has been crushing on him for like ever, Choji said. Hinata turned bright red as the attention was drawn to her. What? It's not my fault that Hinata is shy. Sorry, Hinata, but all is fear in love and war. The way I see it, she had multiple chances to snag him as her own. Well, you had your chance as well, Ino, but you were wrapped up with your precious Sasuke just like every other girl in town. Unlike Hinata, Tenten said. Shut up, Ino said. I was young and ignorant back then. I will happen to let you know that I've grown into a very mature woman. You know, none of this really matters because he's not coming back, Kiba said. All of them went into a mood once again. He didn't mean to put them in such a mood, but he was sick of Naruto this and Naruto that, when they seemed to not realize that there was a big flaw in all of their planning. Naruto didn't want to be here at all. Shikamaru saw the clock on the wall. Choji, Ino, we better get moving. We have to meet up with Asuma Sensei at the main gate in 15 minutes for our mission. Oh yeah, I almost forgot, Choji said, scarfing down the last remains of the barbecue. What kind of mission? Sakura asked curiously. There has been reports of men in black cloaks and red clouds moving in the north, Shikamaru said. The Akatsuki, Sakura said. Yeah, Tsunade-sama is sending us, along with Izumo and Katetsu, to go and investigate. Choji explained. Well, we better get going, said Ino, pushing them towards the door. I guess I'll head back to the hospital then, Sakura said, placing her money on the table for a meal as she got up. We better leave as well, Hinata-sama, so we're not late for the clan meeting, said Neji. Hinata merely nodded after they left their funds. They excused themselves. Come on, Chino. Kurenai-sensei said that she had big news to tell us today, Kiwa said, as they paid and left the table. Tenten, would you mind? Sorryly, maybe next time, said Tenten, as she placed the money down on the table and got up. She seemed to be in a hurry. It seems. I'll have to train on my own then. Yush. I will do 300 laps around Konoha. If I can't, I will do 10,000 sit-ups, Lee said, as he shot to his feet. Excuse me, sir. Lee turned to see the waitress behind him holding a plate of what looked like cake. Would you be interested in sampling our newest dessert, she asked. Lee thought about it, as he did not see the harm. Sure, why not? Lee sat down as he took a bite. The waitress watched him. This was something new that had the potential to bring in a lot of new customers. Lee's eyes widened to the end of their proportion as he scarfed down the rest of it. Bring me 10 more, please, he said. The waitress smiled. Coming right up, sir, she said. This is the most youthful dessert I ever had. What is it called? She turned. It's called rum cake, she said to him with a smile, as she made her way off, leaving Lee there. Meanwhile, all that could be seen was two blurs as they traversed throughout the forest at top speed, moving with speeds that would leave anyone in their dust. They shot past as they tried to beat each other there. Currently, Sasuke was ahead, as he thought that he had this in the bag, but Naruto just would not leave him. He was just a bit behind him, and he would not step back or even slow down. Sasuke thought that he had a clear advantage, but it was so close, closer than he thought. The only way for him to pull ahead right now was to slow Naruto down. An idea suddenly popped up in his head. Sasuke started to raise his hands in front of him. Fire style. Fireball jutsu. The Uchiha turned and released a fireball behind him. So that's how you want to play, huh? Wind style. Unrelenting force, said Naruto, exhaling a massive force towards the fireball. It dissipated completely, wiping Sasuke jutsu out. Bursting past the fire, Naruto found himself entangled in ninja wires. He looked up as Sasuke leaped over his head, a smirk looking down towards him. Sasuke picked up speed as he moved off. Sasuke! He heard Naruto roar out behind him. It took a minute for Naruto to get free, as he was now pissed off. He reached as he pulled out 3 kunais. He clenched them as he pulled his hand back. He then proceeded to launch them towards the Uchiha, where he went off to. As for Sasuke, he had slowed down somewhat, so that he would not exhaust himself as he moved. But he had to reach the temple first. He had to beat Naruto. He had to win this. Sasuke then turned as he felt something. A shocked look appeared on his face, however, when he saw that it was kunais, he relaxed. For a moment there he thought that Naruto had actually catch up to him already. That would have been completely insane. As he proceeded to turn, he drew his blade. However, 2 of the kunais poof. As 2 Narutos appear, they tackle him down to the ground, holding him down. The final kunai hit a tree and poof into Naruto. Sasuke tried to get free from Naruto clones as they held him down. It was his idea to have a clone follow Sasuke instead of doing it himself. His idea was to have the clone throw the kunai when he got close to the temple. However, plan changed. Bringing his hand up, multi-shadow clone jutsu, as Sasuke dispelled those 2 clones. However, the others dogpile him. Have fun, said Naruto. Keep him busy, boys. As Naruto shot off, Sasuke started to get mad. His hand twitched. Shidori Nagashi, he said. A violent burst of chakra this time exploded out as lightning chakra, zapping all the clones around him. Sasuke was now back on his feet, the black patterns off. The curse mark was covering him. He clenched his fist, not this time, he said, as he bent his knees before, shooting off. When Naruto looked behind him as he could feel the demonic chakra from the curse mark. Oh really? Using curse mark now? Naruto said to himself. Give up, Uzumaki. He heard Sasuke yelling. I'm faster than you. You can't win this. In your dreams, Uchiha, Naruto said. As Sasuke was seeing him ahead, but he was still a distance away from him. Sasuke kicked it up the hyperdrive trying to catch up. As Naruto looked behind him. Meanwhile, that chase was going on. Deep underground, in the Konoha interrogation department, Tsunade was inside waiting for her guests. Inside was Kurona UI. There was also Ibiki as well, and Inoichi Yamanaka, and the Envoy captain. It seems like Tsunade was making well on her promise, and she was not joking around, because the guests that were making their way were Koharu and Homura, who were scared shitless. However, Tsunade had this look on her face. She was up to something, whatever it was. It was going to be bad for them. Really, really bad. But guys, if you end up so right here, if you want to see the next part and do, like, subscribe, comment down below, and turn on that bell notifications they posted. Remember, share to all of your friends, and yeah guys. And don't forget to comment down below if you're new so I can welcome you personally. So without further ado or wasting more time, what do you say we jump right out of here? See you guys soon. Peace guys.